Hey everyone, thanks for coming to this channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. So today we are going to be making this very cute Kerokeroppi character from Sanrio. As you can see here, you got the eyes, you got the bow tie, the mouth, and the referee type shirt. So there we go, we're going to make that together today. This is a mini chibi character and you guys are going to enjoy this. So for the materials, what we're going to need is a pair of cutters. Of course, we will also need a 1.9mm hook. I recommend using this hook to get this size. This is usually about maybe 8 to 10 centimeters in height. But if you want to use anywhere between a 1.75 and a 3mm hook, that should be fine with 4-ply cotton yarn. You will be using some 4-ply cotton yarn for this character. If you have other type of yarn, this pattern will work the same, no problem. But you just might need to use a different hook size. So you'll need cotton yarn in white, red, black, and green to make this character. And of course you will also need some fiber filling and a sewing needle or a tapestry needle, but I would recommend a type of tapestry needle that has a nice point and easy to work through those stitches as best as possible. Alright, let's get straight into it. To begin, we are going to be using the green yarn and we are going to be making a magic ring first of all. So for those of you who are very new to crochet, I have a playlist that is a beginner crochet tutorials playlist, so I would recommend go checking that out first, get familiar with the techniques, and then come back to this tutorial and make this wonderful Kerokeroppi here. So what we're going to do is then make 6 single crochet stitches inside this magic ring. But before we do that, I want to show you how I make a single crochet stitch. This is kind of important in terms of the stitch type that we're doing. So for example here, what I do for my single crochet stitches is I have the yarn coming underneath the hook first, just like that, pulling up the yarn, and then once I've got 2 loops on the hook, the yarn actually goes over the hook and pulls through those 2 loops, just like that. So let's do it again. So yarn comes under first, pulls up a loop, and then yarn goes over the hook and goes through those 2 loops on the hook. That is the yarn under, yarn over technique there. Some beginners usually start with yarn over and then yarn over again, which I wouldn't recommend, but feel free to do that if that's what you enjoy. And then more other people for amigurumi will also do yarn under and then yarn under again. But I, for this pattern, will just do yarn under, yarn over. So try to get familiar with that if you haven't already. And let's complete now those 6 single crochet stitches. So this is number 4, number 5, and finally number 6 to finish that off here. Then you will grab this tail and pull the tail as best as possible so we close that gap in the magic ring. And then from here we are going to finish each round with a slip stitch and chain 1. So I've just inserted my hook here into the very first stitch that we made in that magic ring, and I'm going to grab the yarn, pull it through, and go directly into the loop on the hook, and that is what you call a slip stitch. And then we also chain 1, and now we've finished the first round and we're ready to begin the second round. For the second round, we are going to be making 6 increases. So to make an increase, you'll make 1 single crochet stitch first, then the hook will enter back into the same stitch space and make a second single crochet stitch. So once you have 2 single crochet stitches in the 1 stitch space, that is called an increase by default. So let's make another one, another increase. So 1 single crochet stitch and then the second, just like that. Let's make the third increase, 1 and 2. The fourth increase, 1 and 2. The fifth increase, 1 and 2, and finally the 6th and final increase to give us 12 stitches in the round, just like that. All done, and let's finish off the round with, as we normally do, a slip stitch and chain 1. Now for round 3, it's a little bit different, but not too different, quite simple. All you'll be doing is making first a single crochet stitch first, followed by an increase. 1 single crochet stitch, 2 single crochet stitches in the same space. Let's do it again. Single crochet stitch first, followed by an increase, 1 and 2. Now I want you to repeat that another 4 times, slip stitch and chain 1 to then finish round number 3. Alright, so we're up to the final increase in round number 3. And actually this, I hope you haven't done the slip stitch and chain 1. Sorry if you have. Go back to this final stitch, by the way. And so this is the 18th stitch in round number 3, and this is where we're going to change the color now to white. Okay, so we need a white colored yarn. Alright, so here is the white colored yarn. We've got our 18th stitch over here, and we're just going to pull the white yarn through that end portion of the 18th stitch to finish it off. I'm going to come into the very first stitch now and have the green and white yarn tails over the top of the hook whilst I complete a slip stitch and chain 1. And now we are ready to start round number 4, and this is where we alternate between actually red, white and green, because we need to incorporate the foot as well. So this is probably the most difficult row in terms of getting it all together nice and easy. But we can do it. We'll do it one step at a time. Let's start off with 3 single crochet stitches in white. 1, 2, and here's number 3. Now, to end this third one, we're going to change the yarn color to red. So we'll grab our red colored yarn and then slip it through those 2 loops on the hook. Then we'll come into the next one, put the white and red on top of the hook just for 1 stitch and make 1 single crochet stitch, and then let's make another one. And before we finish this one, this is where we now need to change our yarn color to green. So let's grab the green from before where we had it and move these 2 yarn tails and then weave it through. And this is where we make the first foot, and this is a spike bubble stitch, by the way, so you want to wrap the yarn first. Don't come here in the next stitch space, but come further down in the elongated stitch space, and that's what we call the spike stitch, but this is a bubble spike stitch or a spike bubble stitch. And you'll pull the yarn through 2 loops on the hook. Let's do it again. Wrap the yarn, same stitch space, and pull the yarn through 2 loops on the hook. One more time. Wrap the yarn, same stitch space, pull the yarn through 2 loops on the hook. Now you should have 4 loops on the hook in total, and this is where you're going to change your yarn color back to white this time and pull through all 4 loops on the hook just like that. From here we're going into the next stitch and have the green yarn come over the top of the hook for 1 stitch. So here's our first single crochet stitch in white. Let's make another 2. Here's the second, and here is the third. Now before we finish this third, let's go back to our red colored yarn. Let's push the green foot out the right way and weave the red yarn through. We've got 1, 2, 3. Let's make 2 single crochet stitches in red. 1 and 2. This is where we need to change the yarn color back to green to finish off the second foot. So let's grab our green yarn color. Don't pull too tightly, because you don't want this to kind of fold inward. Just give it enough slack as best as possible. And let's do that foot again. So coming in the elongated stitch space, pulling up the yarn, pull through 2, wrap the yarn, same space, pull through 2. One more time, wrap the yarn, same space, and pull it up, and then pull through 2. This is where we change back to white, pull through all 4 loops on the hook, and now let's come to the next stitch space over here, have the green come over the top of the hook, pull it a little bit, and then let's make 3 white single crochet stitches, 2 and 3, followed by a change to our red colored yarn, boom, and then 3 final single crochet stitches in red, and on the last one we change back to white to finish that off. And don't pull it too hard. So you can see here we've got a little bit of looseness here. I'm just pulling it exactly how much I need between here to here. And let's make a slip stitch to finish off our round number 4, and there we go, guys. Fantastic. Now you can actually cut the green, because we're not going to need that for just a little while yet, and it might get in the way, so we can just get rid of that. If you feel comfortable crocheting with it, feel free not to cut it at all. Alright, so let's just pull this away, get this organized, and now we are going to be alternating between red and white the entire way around for rounds 5 all the way up to round 8. So that's 5, 6, 7, and 8 rounds. So that's 4 rounds in total, alternating between red or white and red the entire way around. Make sure that you do it in groups of 3, if you will. So here we change to red. This is round number 5 right here. We've got 1 single crochet stitch, 2, and here's the third one in red. Last time we had it in green because we needed to incorporate the foot. Now it's back to red. And let's continue on. So remember, this is 4 rounds now. of alternating between red and white all the way around. You guys can do this. You don't need to weave in those yarn tails as well as you go. Just let them hang and then pull them across. Alright, I'll let you guys do that. So do that for the next 4 rounds and then we'll come back together and begin round number 9. Alright guys, so we've just finished those 4 rounds, rounds 5 to 8, alternating between white and red the entire way around. It's quite straight because we have this slip stitch and chain one here, so it's not kind of in that spiral shape. There is a technique to keep it straight even in a spiral, but we won't touch on that right now. Okay, so for round number 9, this is what we're going to do. Fairly straightforward, but does take a little bit of changing colors as well. So we've got 1 white, 2 white, 3 white single crochet stitches, change yarn color to red as normal. Then we'll have 1 red, but here is where we're going to change our yarn color back to green. So we need to grab our green colored yarn. Let's grab it over here. Just like this, and then we're going to pull it through, and this is where we're going to create the first arm in this elongated spike stitch right here, but we're making a bubble stitch in that spike stitch space. So first of all, we wrap the yarn, pull through 2, wrap the yarn again, pull it up, and then pull through 2, wrap the yarn again, last time, pull it up and pull through 2 loops on the hook. You've got 4 loops on the hook here. This is where you're going to change the yarn color to red, pull it through all 4 loops on the hook, and then come here in your next red single crochet stitch and make another single crochet stitch here in red. Then we're going to change to white because white comes next, and we just want to make sure it's not getting in the way of our green. We don't want it too tangled or anything like that. So there we go. Now we're going to make 3 white, 1 as normal, 2 and 3, come back to red, make another 3 red, 1, 2, and on this one we change the yarn color back to green because we'll make the second arm in the very next elongated stitch space. So wrap the yarn again, come in the next stitch space but down 1, and pull through 2 loops. Do it again. Pull through 2 loops. One more time. Wrap the yarn, same stitch space, pull it up, and then pull it through 2. Now you've got 4 loops on the hook, and this is where we change to white. Pull through all 4 loops on the hook, complete the next 2 single crochet stitches, have the green yarn around the hook for the first. Just like that. So that's 1. Here's number 2, then we change to red, and we'll complete 3 single crochet stitches in red just to finish off round number 9, changing back to white at the end there, just like so, and then of course slip stitch and chain 1 to finish off round number 9. Okay, so for round number 10, this is fairly straightforward as well. Let's do it together. So we've got a single crochet stitch first, followed by an invisible decrease. So what I did there is I went in the front loop of the first stitch and then the front loop of the second stitch as well. I'm going to pull the white yarn through, and then I'm going to change my yarn color to red because we want to keep that shirt consistent with the colors. So I'm going to pull the red yarn through, then we're going to do it all again. So we've got single crochet stitch first, followed by an invisible decrease. So front loop, then front loop of the second stitch, pull the yarn through, and here we need to change back to white. So let's change to white here, just like that. Single crochet stitch, followed by a decrease or invisible decrease, and at the end of that, change the yarn to red. Let's do it again. Single crochet stitch first, followed by an invisible decrease, front loop, pull the yarn through, change to white. Here's our white colored yarn, and let's do it again inside the green space first. Single crochet stitch, followed by an invisible decrease, front loop, pull the yarn through, change to red, to our red colored yarn right here. And last one, single crochet stitch, followed by invisible decrease, and change this time to green, not to white. So change to green, followed by, and have the red come over the hook as you complete this slip stitch and chain 1, just like that. We can cut the white yarn, we don't need the white yarn anymore, and we will eventually cut the red yarn as well, but we'll leave it just for now. Okay, so this is the next part now. We are going to work inside the back loops only of this next round, number 11. So you can see we're coming in the back loop, not that front loop, but then the back loop underneath it. So this is what we're going to do. Single crochet stitch first in green, next back loop, make an increase, 1 and 2. Let's repeat, always working in the back loops. Single crochet stitch first, you can move that red, and then an increase, 1 and 2, just like that. Let's do it again. Single crochet stitch in the back loop first, followed by an increase. Always want to get inside those back loops. So here is the increase right here, which is perfect. So guys, I'll let you continue this now all the way across. So remember, it's always the single crochet stitch first, followed by the increase all the way around until you have 18 single crochet stitches in round number 11. Alright, so let's cut the red yarn here. We've just finished round number 11 here. We'll cut the red yarn. We don't need it anymore. And what we're going to do now is the following. We have 2 single crochet stitches, 1 and 2, followed by an increase. And I want you to repeat that a total of 6 times. 1, 2, followed by an increase. So I'll let you guys finish that. You'll have 24 stitches in the round after round number 12. And there we go, all finished right there. So now for rounds 13, 14, 15, and 16, so that's 4 rounds in total, you want to just make 24 single crochet stitches all the way around. So again, that's the next 4 rounds of just straight single crochet stitches to complete every round. Okay, so we just completed rounds number 16, or round number 16 right there. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, round 16 completed there. And now we are going to start round number 17. This is how you do it. 2 single crochet stitches first, followed by an invisible decrease. And you want to repeat that a total of 6 times. So again, 2 single crochet stitches first, followed by an invisible decrease. Just like that. There you go. Okay, so repeat that total of 6 times, and then slip stitch chain 1, and we'll start round number 18 together. So for round number 18 now, all we want to do is make a single crochet stitch first, followed by an invisible decrease. Sorry, I was just having trouble getting in there. And you repeat this time, single crochet, invisible decrease. Repeat that a total of 6 times as well, and then we will be finished round number 18 together. Don't forget to finish, as always, with a slip stitch and chain 1. And after that, we're going to add some fiber filling. So maybe I'll just do this with you here instead of pausing the video, because we're so close to the end in terms of the body and the head. Then there's a few other things to go, but it shouldn't take too long, and we can do it together as always. Here's the final one. Single crochet followed by invisible decrease. End with a slip stitch and chain 1. Pull it up just a little bit extra this time, because we're going to add some fiber filling inside at this point. So grab your fiber filling and start putting it in your body. Use a pair of cutters or something to really dig it in there and condense that fiber filling as best as possible until it's all the way up to the head. Now you don't need to use eyes or anything like that, like safety eyes, because for this Kerokeroppi character, we actually don't use any type of safety eyes. We're going to make them ourselves, which is kind of safer anyway, just in general. Okay, so fill this up all the way until it's all full, and then we will start the next section. Okay, so for this very last round now, I'm going to put my hook back in here, pull the yarn just to secure this nice and tight. Whoops, let's do that properly. So hook comes in, pull it nice and tight. We've filled up our Kerokeroppi head and body with fiber filling as much as we can there. And now for this last round, let's just get rid of that fiber filling that's kind of intermingled itself in our hook. And we are going to make a total of 6 invisible decreases for this final round. I have my finger kind of holding this in place so that the fiber filling doesn't entangle in my stitches. So I do that sometimes when I see it's just a little bit overflowing. And remember, you never want the fiber filling to be seen through these stitch spaces. That's why I recommend the yarn under, yarn over technique rather than usually what beginners do, which is more than fine, yarn over technique. So I hope that does help, but you might have really tight stitches anyway. Okay, so there we go. Now we'll just finish off with a slip stitch, pull the yarn through, and cut around about a 15 centimeter tail just at the end there. So weave the yarn through the eye of your tapestry or sewing needle right there. And now what we're going to do is come into the front loops of those 6 remaining stitches at the top here, just the front loops. So needle goes through the front loop over here. You want to get nothing else, just the front loop of the stitch. This is number 3. There should be 6 in total. 4, 5, 6. Okay, from here, pull it in the direction of that circle, so in a clockwise manner, and then just pull it and watch that gap close at the top. Just like that. Flatten it down as best as you can. Insert the needle in the center of that gap, and have your tapestry needle come out anywhere in the head, and just pull it until that circle closes even more and it turns out even more flat, just like that. Once you've done that, you want to follow the direction of the stitch. So you can see how there's like a little bit of a diagonal space there. We're going to follow that direction, not go straight, not go backwards straight or horizontal. We're going diagonal to follow that stitch direction. This will just make a seamless look as we sew in place, especially using the same color. There you go. And one more diagonal as well. Just like that. Now we've done that 3 times, so that should be very secured. And I'll just poke this in to finish it off. Okay, so there you go. There's the body and the head of our beautiful Kerokeroppi character. So now let us continue with the 2 eyes. Okay, so this is the type of eye we want to make. You can see it's very flat. So we need to get the technique right as we make this. So let's grab some white colored yarn. And then from here, we're just going to make a normal magic ring. Just a regular magic ring. No double ties for that magic ring either. So just a regular magic ring. And now inside this magic ring, we're going to make 7 single crochet stitches. And try and make them a little bit loose. Not too tight, but not too loose either. So you've got to find that balance. Always trying to keep this flat as well. So there's number 3, 4, keep it flat, 5, 6, and 7. So you can see this is nice and flat right here. Now we're going to pull the magic ring. We've got no bumps, everything is nice and flat, and this is where I'm just going to lift a little bit of slack, not too much, just a little bit, come into my very first stitch space, make a slip stitch, and chain 1. So you can see this magic ring is nice and flat here, which is exactly what we want. Now we have this yarn tail here, which we don't want to have visible too much at the back. We want to cut it off somehow. So this is how we're going to do it. Put your hook inside that first stitch and then have this tail over the top of your hook. And now let's continue making an increase. So there's 1 single crochet stitch, same space, have the yarn tail over the hook, and here's the second. Keep it nice and flat. Come into the second stitch space, yarn tail over the hook, 1 single crochet stitch, followed by the second. Maybe one more time. We'll weave that yarn tail in as we go. This is the 3rd increase, and by the way, we are making 7 increases in total. Okay, now I can leave this yarn tail. I don't need to weave it in anymore. Here's the 4th increase, 1 and 2. Always keep it nice and flat, so give yourself enough slack in your stitches to make it completely flat, because you really want this eye to be flat, not curved. 1, and here's the last one, number 2. Come into the first stitch, make a slip stitch, cut about 15 centimeters worth of yarn, and now you can see this is nice and flat. And at the back here, since we've woven this in a couple of times, we can now just directly cut it like that, and we will have no problems making this also a nice looking side as well. So here we go. Those are the 2 eyes that we've completed now. Now let's do the black portion of the eyes as well. Grab yourselves a good length of black colored yarn, and all you're going to do is grab 2 ply from your 4 ply cotton yarn, and then just take out 2 ply worth. You might have to do 1 ply at a time if you're finding that a big struggle, but if you're not, 2 ply at a time is more than fine. So here we go. We've got our long, maybe almost 1 meter, probably not a meter, but 40 centimeters worth of our black yarn. Now what we want to do here is make 6 single crochet stitches inside a magic ring with your same hook size as well. So here we go. Ready? Here's number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5, and finally number 6. Grab that yarn tail, give it a little pull. Oh, you can see my yarn tail snap. You kind of don't want that, so don't give it too much of a pull. In any case, it should be okay. And come to the very first stitch space. Grab the tail, have it over the top just so you can really weave it in there as you complete your slip stitch, and then pull the rest of that cut yarn through. And there you go. Now what we will end up doing is cutting this piece right here, just so we've got our full black eye in a circle looking like that. Excellent. So make 1 more of those and then we've completed the eyes. Alright, so with the other 2 ply yarn that you kind of cut at the same time, all we're going to do is make a bow tie. So let's make a bow tie now. It should be fairly straightforward, fairly simple to do. This is how we do it. Make a magic ring to begin. Just a regular magic ring. 2 ply yarn is what you want to use with your 1.9mm hook. From here you're going to wrap the yarn and make a half double crochet stitch. Just like that. Let's do it again. Half double crochet stitch the second time. Then we chain 1, and then we make a slip stitch in the magic ring. Just like that. Chain 1 again, make a half double crochet stitch, make another half double crochet stitch, chain 1, and make a slip stitch inside the magic ring. Just like that. Now you can pull the excess yarn through or cut it. Pull the magic ring. Don't pull it too tight. Remember what happened last time. And now we have a working little bow tie right here, ready to sew onto Kerokeroppi's body. Alright, so let's begin the sewing now. Let's do it. Okay, so you can see here I've pinned the eyes to the base of round 15. So this is round 15 here, and we're going to the base of round 15 where I pinned the eyes, and I've kind of kept the point where I did the slip stitches moved together kind of at a diagonal towards each other, just like coming inward like that. That will make it easier for the stitches to be done. So all I'm going to do is use my sewing needle, come into the base of that round 15, and come out and come through the back loop of the next stitch, or the next stitch that's closest to me. From here I'm going to do it again. I'm going to work my way inside, and then I'll come back at this stitch here because I want to make it a little bit more pretty. And then I'm going to go inside the back loop right here. Whoops. Oh yeah, there we go. And then I'll come back in that stitch space over there, and we might go up the side just a little bit. I hope you can see this. Just the side on that diagonal there. With this back loop stitch right there. Now I'm going to come across to the other side of the head at this point. And then what I will do is I'll go and work straight back into this stitch. And I will come through the center of the magic ring. This is why you want a kind of a small needle. You don't want a big tapestry needle here. Pull it all the way through. This one disappears, which is good. And then I'm going to come down below, one stitch space, work into the head. There we go, and come out somewhere at the back. Boom. Alright, there's my first eye. Take this needle away. First eye is done, and in the same way we're going to now sew on that second eye. So I'll let you guys do that second eye, and then we'll come back together to add the black portion of the eye. Okay, so I've just sewn on that second eye, as you can see there, and I've got the yarn tail come out the same position as my first yarn tail from the other eye, and all I'm going to do is tie these together in a double knot just to secure that in place, and then I'll grab my scissors, chop this off, and hide it inside the body. So you can just give it a little bit of a push inside the body to hide it. And there we go. Okay, so you can see we've got the black eyes now positioned on those white eyes towards the inner center. You can put them a little bit lower if you'd like as well, completely up to you how you want to do this, but the sewing is what's important. Look, honestly, I would prefer gluing, but if you really want this secure, feel free to sew it. It's just the sewing technique has to be done really delicately here, like really delicately, so you've got to be careful. You always want the sewing to be done towards the inside of the eye, so never go further out than what the eye space is. So you don't want to have sewing here or here. It's got to be towards the inner portion of the eye. The next thing you want to do is you're not going through all of these front and back stitches here. You're only working, and this is why you want a sharp point on your needle, you're only working through a little bit of the fiber. So technically, can you see how I've got just a little bit right there? Just a tad. So that's kind of underneath the eye, and I'm working through that just like that, and then we go into the back loop of the eye. And we don't have to sew around every single stitch here, but we do want to try our best. So again, like any type of little piece of white that I can get is what I'm going to put my needle through, because you don't want the eye to be visible or any black to be visible at the back here. That's what's very important. Is that's why if you think you're going to have trouble doing this, feel free to just use glue. A hot glue gun, stick it on, easy done. But for more security, I do this sewing technique. It's just, it can be considered a little bit difficult, especially if you're a beginner, but with just a little bit of practice, it can easily be done. And last one, you see how I'm always on the inside of that eye, just trying to find like a little bit of slack in my cotton yarn. So you can see there's some there. I've got the needle poking through that. I'll come in the back loop that's closest to that yarn, just like that. And then I'm going to poke the needle through right at the end or in that same stitch space there, and then come through and poke it at the back side. Sorry, I'm a bit out of camera there. The back of our frog. Remove the needle, give that eye a little bit of shape, just like that, and there we go. So there's the first eye all done. So I want you to repeat the same thing with that second eye, and then we're going to tie these two yarn pieces together, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so we've just finished the sewing of this eye. I've come out the back here in the same stitch space as our last one. Take off the needle, give this a little bit of a reforming, if you will, just like that. And now we will tie these two together just like that, and you can also cut the yarn. push those into the body to hide as well. Now with any other yarn tail that we have, so just grab a little bit of a yarn tail, 2-ply as well. Sorry, my hand was in the way there. So 2-ply as well. And this is what we're going to do to make the mouth. Super easy. Just 2-ply. 2-ply yarn. You could even do this with 1-ply yarn, but if you want a little bit thicker, go for 2-ply. I'm just entering my needle anywhere. No particular place there. Just somewhere where I can tie it and put it back in the body. Then I'll come down right here, 2 stitch spaces below and 1 to the side. Come up the top here, give it that nice little triangle point and come straight back into the stitch space here. Then have my needle come out over here where I entered into. There's the mouth. And now with these two we'll do the exact same thing. Tie it together just like that. Chop the yarn, any excess you can chop off, and then with your needle or the back end of a hook, just poke in your excess yarn to hide it away. Fantastic. So we've only got one last thing to do, and that's to just tie the bow tie or sew the bow tie on our kerokeroppi, and then we'll be finished. So here's my little bow tie right here, and with the longer strand I've actually just come in from the back to the top just so I can have this come out in a nice position. You don't need to do this. This is just something that I'm just quickly doing to make it a little bit easier for me to sew it on. So now I'm going to find the front section, which I think is this section here. That looks like the back. This is the front. So all I do is, let us see. Okay, so what I want to do is, this is the first section, row here where I finished with the green, or started with the green. I'm going to start right here. So I'm going to put the bow tie maybe there. So I'm going to come right here, right in the center there, and then out 1 stitch space below. So you want a nice needle here just to help you do that. Poke this in the right direction. And I'm going to wrap it across the middle portion here, and then I'm going to enter into that top section again. I'm just going to move the the needle somewhere else just so it's easy for me to come back. I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. So we've gone over the top, just like that, and now I want to come out underneath at this stitch space right there. So the needle is going to go back here and come out over here. Just like that. And I think I might go over the top one more because I might have missed it actually. I might not have been watching properly where my needle was going. And now this time I will put it at the back anywhere through any stitch, because we will tie these 2 yarn tails together just like that. So you can see it's nicely set on there, that bow. We've gone over the top there, so it is nicely secured. And with this other yarn tail I'm just going to head straight back into the back underneath the bow. As you can see, I'm underneath that bow in one of those stitch spaces. Then I'm going to weave the yarn tail through the eye of my needle, just like that, and then I'm coming to the back section here, pulling that through, and then with these two, same way as we've always done, it's just a quick, nice, tight double knot, especially with that second knot, make that a lot tighter than the first. Then cut the excess yarn, and from here grab the back end of a needle or the back end of your hook and push it through to hide. And there we go, there's the bow tie on our kerokeroppi. We've got a beautiful kerokeroppi right here. We've made 2 now, so feel free to make your own and enjoy. Guys, don't forget to subscribe. We're making many characters for you guys, so please help us out and help grow this channel with us. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.